In one more moment. Tom, do we have everyone in?
We have everyone in, and there's a few more still coming in, and we'll leave that open to do that. And then we are streaming live on YouTube.
Okay. Welcome. One more moment. Tom, do we have everyone in?
Yes, we have everyone in, and there's a few more still coming in.
I'm getting feedback, Tom. And
so I think we are ready to get started whenever you are.
Okay, welcome. Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to you. I am Professor McNeil. I teach in the Business, Economics, and Entrepreneurship Department. I am also the Director of Entrepreneurship, Center for Entrepreneurship Studies, and I do programming for the center. So this program today is sponsored by the Business, Economics, and Entrepreneurship Center on the campus of Bennett College. We are excited that you're here today. Our topic today is going to be on cryptocurrency and investment apps. So we will, at the first part of the session, we will have a webinar piece that was pre-recorded where individuals are going to be talking to us about cryptocurrency and giving us a little bit of feedback and information. And they're also going to be sharing investment apps. And then after that part of the video is complete, we will go to the live section where we will ask you to put in the chat questions you might have about cryptocurrency or investing. We will have a guest who will be able to answer questions for us. And so we are very excited that, that you have joined us today for this A.C.E.S. So what I will do is, without delay, because I want to make sure we have a chance to get to the video as well as get through the live portion, I will ask Tom to cue up the video. After the video, we will have Ms. Zaria Murphy will be our moderator, and she will begin to ask questions of our guests. So enjoy, and I will be back with you once the video is complete.
Hello, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here today, and just want to thank all the people who've been participating in the Society for Financial Education Professional Development Conference. It's been a wealth of information. Now, I have been tasked with the task of talking and explaining about one of the hottest subjects on the planet, one of the hottest subjects in social media, and one of the hottest subjects at your family cookouts, and it's cryptocurrency. So let's get to it. Now, this session, I'm going to talk about the importance of understanding virtual currency and how it works. And the reason why I'm stating this is because this is so important in any investment, ladies and gentlemen, that you must understand before you get into an investment. That's one of the prerequisites. You shouldn't be into any investment unless you have an understanding, you've done some research on it. And we want to talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of cryptocurrency. So, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a digital, now it's considered an asset, but a digital asset. And it's also has the banner of digital currencies and virtual currencies. And it was initially designed to provide an alternative payment method for online transactions. I bet y'all didn't know that. So these currencies use the word cryptography to secure the transactions, and they use a blockchain technology, which is a decentralized peer-to-peer network in the form of a computerized database. In other words, in the cloud, in cyberspace. It's like a ledger, a general ledger in cyberspace. So the blockchain is a revolutionary technology, and it was developed in 2008 as a database, as I stated, for storing information in a way that it was difficult or impossible, or maybe impossible, to change and hack and intercept. It has many applications. Cryptocurrency is a decentralized security, which means that they aren't controlled by any single entity like a government. Just like in most countries, like the United States, the alternative to Bitcoin is the dollar, or as they call fiat currency, the currency that is approved by a government, and it is centralized. But different cryptocurrency, different than any other asset, it is not backed or collateralized. So now, types of cryptocurrency. Now, this is very interesting. Now, I put this presentation together in October, and everything else in this presentation is still the same. But at the time, there were 6,500 cryptocurrencies. To date, it is now 13,000 different cryptocurrencies. And the interesting thing, 90% of the crypto buyers are Gen Z and millennials. That's ages 18 to 14. And the average crypto owner is a 38-year-old white male with the average income of $111,000. The average salary of $111,000. So Bitcoin was originally created. The Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm going to talk about him in a minute, or should I say he, him, they, them, and you're going to see why I said this. Now, any cryptocurrency that isn't on the Bitcoin blockchain is referred as an altcoin or alternative to the Bitcoin. You have cryptocurrencies that are called stable coins, which are backed by specific assets. In one particular example, the US dollar. Then you have what they call smart contracts, which is a contract that is written with certain requirements that need to be met to be in this particular cryptocurrency. I mean, those are the three major ones. But remember, cryptocurrencies can be used for transactions to purchase items, but it's not considered legal tender. So let's talk about Bitcoins, right? Since that was the first cryptocurrency created in 2009 by the developer Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, they say that they don't even know if this is a person. They're not sure if it's a group. They're not sure if it's a financial institution. But he created this cryptocurrency called Bitcoin, which is a central idea to allow people to open up a digital bank account. And basically cryptocurrency, if you're holding it in your own wallet, it's almost like you are being your own bank. You're cutting out the middleman. So, and you hold the money in a way that the government doesn't. So it prevents regulation. Bitcoin's transparency is direct conflict with the central bank, the Federal Reserve. We do not know how much money the Federal Reserve prints each day or what they spend it on. And that's the whole idea of why cryptocurrency was created. Digital currency was created as an alternative to fiat currency because they print so much, there's no limit. And the more you print, the more the value goes down. So cryptocurrency has a limited supply. It's only 21 million that is created. To date, 18.5 million have been sold. And they're saying the next remainder is going to take several years to even be sold. So no company can make no more than that. And it mirrors commodities like gold. And that's why when you look at cryptocurrencies, it's very important to look at the supply and how much they actually created. Because some cryptocurrencies, like Dogecoin could make up to over 100 million, if not more. So how does cryptocurrency work? Okay, it's supported by, like I said before, a public ledger that is in cyberspace. Each person participates with a public key or a private key, which is also known as a password. It's designed to identify the individuals. In order to complete this transaction, you have to verify the authenticity on the specific exchanges that you may be on. Now, cryptocurrency wallet, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, refers to a program that allows an investor to store their cryptocurrency. On the other hand, a cryptocurrency exchange refers to a website or a service where you can sell or buy digital currency or convert it into fiat currency into dollars. So, reason why I bring this up, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you can hold it on an exchange, which is not as secure if you're holding it in a wallet. And they have a hot and cold wallet. Hot wallet could be on an exchange or a service that holds it. and only you have the password. Not even the people who sold it to you have it. And that's the dilemma with it. If you forget your password, you're done. And there's examples of people that had grown up to $250 million worth of cryptocurrency and they forgot their password, their key. So, and then the other one is a cold wallet. You can actually hold the cryptocurrency on your computer, and that means you have control of it. But in order to be able to transfer it, to use it as an online transaction, you have to put it onto exchange. So how is cryptocurrency created? It's created through a process known as mining. Now, I could do a whole class just on miners, but they solve a complex problem to unlock the new currency, and they add a new block, which is called the blockchain. And that transaction blocks and verifies amongst peers, which allows cryptos to operate without a need for a central authority behind it. That's the whole concept of decentralized currency. Everybody can see it. It's out there. If you try to go in and change it, everybody can see it, and it will revert to the original what is in there. Now, this is so important, y'all, that this formula is so incredible that this formula creates so much energy, takes so much energy from a computer to produce that these computers, the power, the heat, that most of these computers hold these cryptocurrencies in places where they're cool and cold, like Iceland and Greenland. And a lot of people are thinking that it's going to add a negative to the environment, but I'm not going to go any more further about that. But that's what the actual cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is generated by, a problem that is so large that a computer has to process it. So what are the risks involved with cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrencies exist only with the faith of those using them, what they usually call public sentiment. It is not derived from any underlying asset. They are unregulated and they're volatile. And it's not common for cryptocurrency to be up several thousands, millions of dollars, and thousands of dollars, and can drop down to very low numbers. For instance, Bitcoin in the summer, it was at one time 55. It dropped all the way down to about $29,000 per Bitcoin, but now it's back up to 67,000. So it's very speculative, and it is not regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It is not registered as a security, but the SEC has made a statement about cryptocurrency, and they said they can't say it's bad and they can't say it's good. However, they do state that it's highly speculative. So the advantages of cryptocurrency, it's immutable. Immutable is a very key word in cryptography. It means it's difficult, very difficult to change, to counterfeit, and commit fraud. It has security because cryptocurrency, as the name is an encrypted data stream which is monitored, organized by a peer-to-peer network called the blockchain. Crypto, which refers to the encryption algorithms and cryptographic techniques that safeguards the entries. That's what made cryptocurrency such a vehicle to use, because it's kind of difficult to actually counterfeit and commit fraud. And as I said before, it's decentralized. No one single entity like a government owns. Now, the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies. There's many criticisms about it because of the illegal activities, because a lot of times you don't have to verify who you are. All you have to do is have your key. And so a lot of times it opens itself up for illegal activities such as laundering and tax evasion. And also some of the reasons that criticism get is the exchange rate volatility and the infrastructure, whatever company's behind it. So in all disclaimer, you can lose your money very quickly. Now, tax implications. The IRS, as of May 20th, 2021, they actually made the statement that taxpayers are required to report any cryptocurrency transaction that is of $10,000 or more. And they also now have put on the front of the 1040 a question. Do you have or have you had cryptocurrency? And they now are treating it like an asset, like I said before, long-term, short-term capital gains. And if it's short-term capital gains, it is treated as ordinary income. And if it's like 12 months and a day, that's considered long-term capital gains, so it could be taxed at 15 or 20%. Cryptocurrency as an investment, it's a real investment. You need to understand, I can't state that enough. You need, and it's not just cryptocurrency, any investment you are, but a lot of people just jumping in all of these just different cryptocurrencies, don't know anything about them, don't know nothing about the company. And you need to be aware, because any investment that you're involved in, you need to do the research to understand what you're in. I don't care if it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, your 401k. If you're in there investing, you need to do the research because it's your money. You need to take that responsibility. And, deciding if you should, get into cryptocurrency, whatever you do, just make sure you're not, taking your rent money, taking your car money, and just know that you can lose. So make sure that you can afford to lose. Okay, it's very attractive to see the way these cryptocurrencies grow so fast, but they can lose just as fast. And I want to give a quick example because all these people think they can just put $20 and it's going to grow to $1 million. Basic example, if you take the simple compounding interest on $20, it would take $20 to grow to $1 million. The Bitcoin would have to go to $150 million for one Bitcoin. And as I told you today, a Bitcoin is at approximately $67,000 for one Bitcoin. So cryptocurrency is not a get rich quick scheme. Say the cryptocurrency, I don't know if you can see the colors for people that are colorblind, but most of the world is colored in green, which means that it is legal. There are a few places, like it was in June of 2021, El Salvador has it now. Their country is accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. And as of September 2021, China, which used to be the largest holders of cryptocurrency, had declared all cryptocurrency transactions illegal and completely are cracking down on cryptocurrency, have banned it. And that's the risk of having cryptocurrency, is the government can come in and make that kind of decision. Finally, cryptocurrencies, and the final analysis of cryptocurrency is speculative. You need to acquire advice from experts. It's very trendy. It has no long-term history. It can completely change in months, so know that. And if you're going to invest, be clear about why you're doing it. It's always important, wherever you're investing, you need to have a financial goal. And with cryptocurrency, you need an entry strategy as well as you need an exit strategy. I want to finish with that, but I want to end up with saying there's not too many things. There's no 800 customer service number that you can call when you purchase these cryptocurrencies, okay? But the one thing you can do, you can go out on investor.gov, the SEC, and see if the company is registered, at least registered. A FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Agency, .org. Go out there and you can see, because all investment apps, if they're trading securities, they have to be registered. Just because they're registered don't mean that it's going to be a good investment, but at least you know and can do some research to see if a company is for real, if it's if there's any complaints or if any fraud has been happening. Thank you very much, you all, and remember, cryptocurrency is highly speculative.
Hello, I'm so excited to jump in, I guess, here. My name is Yaneli, and I'm so excited to talk about investing apps. I represent an organization called Next Gen Personal Finance, which is a nonprofit organization that works to really promote education in schools, which is one of the things that I think a lot of folks don't necessarily think too much about until they become adults. And then they're like, oh man, I wish I learned this in school. I wish I took a class about taxes and insurance and understanding, apps and money. And so this is really what our goal is to make sure every high school has a full semester class so that nobody is going to turn 18 years old and not know about interest rates, about banking, about, taking on loans, etc. So I'm going to be talking about investing apps. And this is actually something that a lot of times when we think about financial literacy and what it looks like inside of a school, we use the same type of lingo. Like we say like, oh yeah, we know students need to learn how to balance their checkbook. It is 2021 and very soon it's going to be 2022, which means that students are no longer using checks. People are not using checks. We're not using checkbooks at the grocery store. I don't even think the Generation Z, Gen Z is going to really see checks or write checks or have paper checks very much in their life, if at all, because we're moving into this digital world. We're really actually in the thick of it. And so it's so important to bring that into the classroom. And when we talk about financial literacy, financial capability, and personal finance education, we have to be including, digital literacy around digital currencies. We have to be talking about apps and platforms that allow students to access investments and accounts with banks and other institutions. We need to really be talking about how students can use both computers and mobile phones and devices to really tap into the financial tools available to them. So first, we're just going to talk about new data that has come out very recently. There was a Black investor survey for 2021, which was just released, looking at data from 2020. And what it shows is that 63% of Black Americans under the age of 40, so really looking at millennials and Gen Z, are now participating in the stock market. And that is equal to their white counterparts for the first time ever. So this is really incredible, because what's happening is that there's a wave of people of color coming to the stock market and really seeing that, hey, this could be an opportunity to build wealth, maybe an opportunity that I was never really taught about, but I'm eager and curious to learn. So we're really excited to see this curiosity, this eagerness, and this excitement to really learn and get your hands into the stock market. But the reality is that if we're not paying attention to the education gap and the gaps in knowledge, then this gap in investing and wealth building is eventually, it's going to start getting smaller at first, right? Because more people are going to jump in. But what's going to happen, without really knowing what they're doing, without having information, they're going to leave and they're going to feel like they got burned in the market. And they're going to say, oh, the stock market's not for me. Maybe, I should have listened to such and such person who told me it was a scam. I should have not put my money in there because either it didn't work for me, it wasn't fast enough, whatever the outcome was that they were not happy with, they will use that as an excuse to exit rather than really thinking about learning, about really what are realistic expectations for investing. So what we believe at NGPF and what I'm really personally passionate about is really trying to meet this new wave of younger, more diverse investors with some young, fresh, engaging education that matches their excitement and eagerness. Because without the information and the knowledge and the education, again, we're going to see young people getting burned and they're going to turn away. And so it's really important for us to put out the information, first of all, that there's really levels to getting into wealth building. It doesn't start with throwing money in the stock market. That's really comes later on. And it's interesting because even on social media, you can see there are memes about this very topic where people in debt who don't have emergency savings are jumping into the stock market with little to no understanding of the risk that they are taking on. And now, because of technology, with downloading an app, not only do you have the opportunity to invest in federally regulated securities like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, ETFs, but you also have access to crypto now on a trading platform on your mobile device. So it's more important now than ever that we really lay this out very clearly for students, for young people, and for everybody that's interested in getting in, that they understand what they're really doing and have realistic goals. So since I'm focusing on investing apps, let's just acknowledge upfront that there are so many out there to choose from. And it can be really hard to know, how do I make the choice about which platform or which app is right for me? Or which one's right for my child? If I'm interested in helping my child become a young investor, how do I know how to compare these apps? So what I would say is it's really important to actually just do a simple T-chart. Write down the criteria that you think are really important for you and your family, and really begin to compare the apps and platforms across these criteria. So I did this a little bit, and I'm happy to share the link to this in the chat. It kind of saves you a little bit of time, and so you don't have to necessarily do all the work yourself in terms of like doing the comparison. But it is really important to make sure that we are doing a little bit of this work up front. And that means doing that comparison, figuring out what are, the resources that they offer, what are, the educational tools that they have, what are the fees associated with this platform. Is there a management fee? Is there a membership fee? Is it annual? Is it monthly? Is it a percentage of all of my money, or is it a flat dollar amount? Really understanding these things is so important, because it's going to really allow you to make the choice about which one makes sense for your situation. And this is actually the step that I would say most people skip. They just ask family and friends, or they'll go online and see their, people on YouTube, Instagram, or, TikTok talking about this app is really great. Use my discount code link to get, your first $20 or your first stock free. And that's usually the entry point. But they usually skip this step, especially younger investors will skip the step of saying, let me actually vet this app or platform and see if it makes sense, especially comparing it up against the other options out there for me. So here's just an example, right? Like transfer fees is one thing that in 2020, a lot of young investors jumped into the market because of, GameStop, and because AMC, and because of all these meme stocks, what was happening in Reddit. Robinhood made it so easy to jump in and says, oh, free trading. The interesting thing is, if you do make a bit of profit in there and you want to transfer it out either to another account, or, just move it into a tax advantage investment account, there's a transfer out fee. So if you make $100 of profit, you still have to pay $75 to transfer that money out, which leaves you with, less than 30 bucks, let alone you have to pay taxes on those gains in many cases. This is another thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So it's really important to know, are there transfer fees? Is there a minimum that you have to get started? Do they even offer tax advantage accounts? This is such a big question that you need to know, because when jumping in, there are so many tax implications. And the best way for any average everyday person to get started investing is through a tax advantage account, so they can get all the benefits of not having to worry about tax implications, whether because that's tax deferred or because it is, tax advantage in another way. For example, with a Roth type of account, where the profits and gains that you make will not be taxed. They're already, your contributions have already been taxed, and therefore, you can grow your contributions, and any gains that you make will then be tax free. So that's an amazing tax benefit. But if you're skipping directly to brokerage accounts to start investing, you don't even get to take advantage of those tax advantages. So it's really important to understand all of these things. Does the company prioritize education? When you go on their platform or on their app, is it really easy to start finding articles and quick videos that teach you, tutorials, give you information and empower you with knowledge? If not, maybe you need to look for a platform that really values your understanding of what you're doing, rather than, sending you notifications to try to nudge you to buy more without you really knowing what you're doing. You can see here, there's like an investments row. The investments row will let you know which platforms actually offer crypto, because not every platform or app out there that offers investing actually has crypto as an option. The more popular ones, and the ones that really rise to the top of the app store, tend to be the ones that do offer crypto as an option, because of, what we just heard, from Mr. Kinsler about how young people are really interested in crypto. So it's really important to just keep those things in mind, and that's a great resource for that. Let's just quickly talk about a few questions that I think everybody and anybody interested in investing apps or platforms need to ask. First question is, why are you putting this money into this app? If you don't have a very specific answer, that's a sign that you're not ready. Saying, oh, I want to grow my money. Oh, I want to make profit. That's not specific enough. You need to have a time frame. You need to have an amount that you want to make, and you need to, have a reason for that money to grow. So if I talk to a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and they say, I want to make $12,000 in the next 4 years so I can pay some of my student loans off, and I'm going to do that with ETFs and index funds. Oh, great. That person sounds like they are absolutely ready to start investing. They have a financial goal. They have a reason why they're investing, and they have a timeline. They're ready. But on the other hand, I talk to young people all the time that just say, I just want to get in. I know that there's people making money in the stock market, so I just want to put money in. And I go, you know what? You got to do a little bit more digging, because you need a real reason first. And then, do you know the difference between investing pre-tax and investing after tax? This is so important because of what I mentioned a little bit earlier with the tax advantages that a lot of people miss out on, especially novice, new, and young investors. They go straight to the brokerage accounts, they go straight to the trading apps and platforms, and completely skip out on the tax benefits of tax advantage accounts or pre-tax investing options. So it is super important to know the difference between those. And it's really scary how many young people I talk to in my work, colleges and high schools all across the country, that say, oh yeah, I already have this, XYZ app on my phone. And I say, okay, do you know the difference between pre-tax and after-tax investing? No, I don't know what that means. But you already downloaded the app and you're already putting money in, and you don't even know the difference between pre-tax and after-tax investing. It hurts my heart. It just goes to show there's a very big gap in knowledge and access to this education. So, that's why we're doing things like this conference, because we need to close those gaps. And then finally, do you need the money in the next few years? 2 to 3 years from now, that money should not be in the stock market. It should be in a, more liquid account, something like a high yield savings account, or maybe a certificate of deposit. But if you have it in the stock market, there's no way to know how the market's going to trend, whether it's going to be upward or downward in such a short period of time. Historical data only shows that long periods of time yield positive upward trends. So that means 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. So you really have to have that long-term mindset when you're throwing money into the stock market, and you really want to be able to maximize your, long-term returns while also minimizing the risk, which is really important to do if you don't want to lose all your money in speculative investing. So it's really important to keep these questions in mind. And then one thing to really master before actually opening any accounts with any platforms or apps is the difference between the accounts offered and the investments available. Account types are what you can actually open, with your employer. If they offer you a 401k, that's an account type. And the type of account it is meant for retirement. If you go on to any brokerage platform, website, or app, and you open a general taxable investing account, that's a standard brokerage account where it runs into the account and it's going to be taxable. So you got to make sure that you report any gains that you make in that account when it's time to pay taxes to the IRS. So this is really important to know what type of account should you open, because it's got to be the right type of account for you. And the account is just the first step. Next, you have to link that account now with your bank account that you can actually transfer funds in. And then probably the most important step is really to choose what investments are you purchasing in that platform. And a lot of times platforms are limited to what they offer. So if you're looking for ETFs and there's a platform that does not offer ETFs, that's not going to be the right platform for you. If you're trying to buy individual stocks and the platform does not offer that, you got the wrong platform. So you have to know what you're trying to do before you can choose the right platform that matches with those goals. All right, so it was already mentioned a little earlier by Mr. Kinsler about the long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains. And I like to focus on like young students who are really trying to learn about how to jump in. So in that case, most of them are usually single, and most of them are usually filing taxes as, somebody earning under $40,000. And that's generally because if you're a student, you're in college, you're in high school, it's very hard to make more than $40,000 a year while you're a full-time student. And in that case, if you make, anything under $40,000 and you hold your investments for a short period of time, so less than a year, which most young and new investors do, they tend to buy and sell quickly in these platforms and apps, then you are going to have to pay either 10% or 12%, assuming you make under $40,000. If you make $40,000 or less and you hold your investments for more than a year, you are going to be in the long-term capital gains tax bracket. And as you can see, now there's an opportunity to pay 0% taxes on your gains and profits. But the catch is you have to be under that $40,400 income, filing single under that amount, and to hold your investments for more than a year. But what we're seeing with apps that offer free trading, commission-free investing, that is that they also encourage active investing, which means buying and selling very quickly, or very often, rather. So what that means is they're not encouraging you to hold it for a year, and they're essentially nudging you to pay taxes unnecessarily. If you hold investments for a year, you don't have to pay any taxes, and you can keep that money for yourself. So it's really important to recognize that this could be a big difference for somebody who's starting to build wealth in their family for the first time, a young investor who's a person of color. That there's a lot at stake here. A difference of a few $1,000s could mean funding your Roth IRA fully, or being able to open up a 529 for your baby. Like, these are big life-changing moves that tax money can actually be utilized for that, to help, close the wealth gap. And instead, we're paying it in taxes because we don't know that if we hold it for a year or longer, we can actually not be liable for any taxes. So it's very important to educate young people, especially new investors, about this. Here's just a quick example. Buying $5,000 of stock in May and then selling it a couple months later, you're going to have to pay that short-term capital gains tax on any profits, versus if you hold on, until a year later, and again, single making under $40,400, then you have 0% tax due. Again, amazing, because it's more money that you can then leverage and use for wealth building, and securing, a good financial future for yourself and your family. All right, so that is the resource. Again, I'm gonna make sure to get the link to the chart in the chat somehow. I'll make sure to do that. But I'm just honored to be here, and I think the big key message that I want you to take from this is to self-educate. Follow social media influencers who talk about personal finance, and make sure that they're credible. Make sure that you double check what they say. They do provide content in an engaging way on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's great, but you also got to double check and make sure to do your fact checking. Read. Personal finance books, money mindset books. These are, really the way to empower anybody. In a couple hours or in a day or two, you can know more than you ever knew about investing in money. So it's very important to be reading, listening to podcasts, reading blogs, all of this. And then talking to trusted adults in the community, especially if you're at the high school level or even in college. Our website, ngpf.org, has tons of free videos, activities, projects, resources. So actually checking out the website could be a really great way to learn for free as well. So that's all I have. Happy to answer questions later, but thank you all for having me today.
Wow. So I know that was pretty quick. I know that some of you have a couple of questions in the chat, so we'll get to those in just a moment. But I'm so excited about the opportunity that you all have had today to at least hear a little bit. In the spring, we will continue to do more of these. It will be sponsored by the business department. And of course, we partner with Ted Daniels and his group for the Society for Financial Education and Professional Development. And Mr. Daniels is on the webinar with us. We chat, we talk, we do events with them. And so in the spring, we will be doing a lot more of this. So I'm hoping that we have a lot more time. So we may do some in our A.C.E.S. And then, of course, we will probably do some separate so that we'll have a little more time. But a lot of information was covered. If you look in the chat, I did put a couple of things in there for you. There is a link for that chart. Miss Gray asked if the chart would be shared. So there is a Google Doc link in there for the chat. If you all want to click on that, and then you can download that and print it off. And that will give you some more information about the chart, as well as the investing website from the government that Mr. Kinzer talked about. So feel free to make sure that you get those links and click on those. At this time, let me just see if I've got any information. At this time, there is a question, and I think Mr. Kinzer already answered it. Ms. Gray asked, is there a special time for older students or older individuals to start investing? Is it too late for folks? And Mr. Bobby Kinzer said that, there's never an age limit. So you don't have to worry about whether you are too old or too young to start investing. Again, just understand what you're investing in, do your research, and talk to people who might know a little bit about that if you don't know a little bit about it. So at this time, what I will do is I will turn it over to our student ambassador. She is our financial literacy ambassador and part of the SFE and PD program that we offer at Bennett. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about that program, I'll put my email in the chat for you to contact me. But Ms. Murphy is going to now take over the second part, and we are opening up for questioning. So have at it, Ms. Murphy. Thank you so much.
So good morning, everyone. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Kinzer, for doing that presentation and having that video up for us. So right now, I want to go ahead and introduce all of our people that we invited today, all of our guests. So today we have Mr. Bobby Kinzer. He is the Certified Financial Educator for SFE and PD. We also have Mr. Ted Daniels, who is the founder and CEO of Society of Financial Education and Professional Development, SFE and PD, which is for short. We also have Ms. Una Daniel Edwards, who is the VP of Program Management for SFE and PD. And we also have Dr. Tiffany Murray, who is the managing director for SFE and PD. So right now we want to go ahead and ask a few questions. So one of the questions we have is, what is the difference between cryptocurrency and digital currency? And if there is a difference or if there isn't a difference?
Well, I'd like to say first, hello to everyone out there. This is so great. There's so many people engaged on this. It is great today. I'm Bobby Kinzer. And so the question is, actually, cryptocurrency is actually digital currency, or as they also call it, virtual currency. So there is not a difference. So that's the answer to that question. But right quick, Zaria, I want to, from that presentation, which was made in November, and I said that Bitcoins was at $67,000 a coin. Right now, Bitcoin is at $55,000. And that just shows you the volatility of cryptocurrency. So now the global market cap of cryptocurrency is $2.7 trillion. But Bitcoin makes up $1 trillion of the total global market cap. So that gives you an idea of some of the, the difference in the Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies. And out of the top 20 cryptocurrencies, so that presentation I showed you all, and I told you back then in November, it's 13,000 cryptocurrencies. It's even more now. But out of the top 10, to give people a little understanding, Zaria, to up to date, out of the top 20, cryptocurrencies, only 2 of them are over $1,000. And that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So just want to give a little current update on cryptocurrency.
Okay, so our next question is it a good idea to invest in crypto, especially as college students? And now even with the question we have for our older students as well, is it a good thing to invest in crypto?
That is a very loaded question. And the answer to that is, what I stated on top of when I was giving the presentation, right? Is very speculative. And one of the statements I made is, if you're investing particularly in cryptocurrency, you gotta be using money that you're willing to lose. And a lot of people say, man, that's so negative, Mr. Bob. I said, no, that's a negative positive, because like I said, the SEC said it's not good or it's not bad. But you need to understand that the risk is highly at the top of the list of being highly speculative. So I can't say that it's a bad investment, and I really can't say that it is a good investment, because people have made money on it. And I also know people that have lost money on it. So that may not help with that answer, but it is a legal investment. But the key is to understand what you're doing. And like Yaneli also said, and I said, is one of the keys to investing in anything is to have a financial goal. And that helps you determine what you need to be in, what risks you need to be taking. Then the next thing is understanding your risk tolerance. And the next thing is having a timeline. And if you have those 3 things in place, that sort of guides you on what particular investment, whether it's cryptocurrency or any other, stocks, bonds, annuities, whatever, it helps you have a plan. And like I said, with cryptocurrency, you need to have an entry strategy as well as an exit strategy.
And if you don't mind, if I could just agree with Mr. Kinzer on that point, but just to ensure that you've taken into consideration every single thing that that you have going on in your life. So, we talk about financial plans and, like Mr. Kinzer mentioned, having financial goals. Well, one of the things that you like to, you really want to think about is, what are those things that you want to take care of, right? So we talk about investing, but there are other areas of your life that you might want to look into, right? So is your cash management okay? Is your insurance coverage okay? Are you investing with your current potential company or your 401k and things of that nature? You just want to look at everything before you specifically go that route. Again, just like Mr. Kinzer mentioned, just thinking about your whole financial picture before you just go take this route on a particular investment.
And it's specifically, if they did a survey, and it's over less than 40% of people have $400 in an emergency fund. So if, as simple as that, if you don't even have an emergency fund, you don't even need to be talking about investing. And sorry, let me tell you another little secret. I have people, because I was a stockbroker and I'm a certified financial education. They come and ask me, "Oh, Mr. Kins, what's the best investment strategy? What's the best investment?" You know what the best investment is? If you have credit cards with a credit card balance, that's the best investment you can make, paying that balance off. Because look at it, in theory, if you have a credit card and you paying 19.99%, if you pay that credit card off, you are actually literally paying yourself 19.99%. So this is the kind of things when you talk about investing, you all, no matter what the vehicle is, you need to think about.
Ms. Murphy, we do have a question in the chat from Ms. Gray. Ms. Gray said, "How do we find out what companies might be involved with cryptocurrency?"
Ooh. Well, that's the strange thing about cryptocurrency. I mean, you can go out on investor.gov and FINRA.org, FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Agency, and find companies that, that actually have exchange apps and things like that. But you Google, and the hardest thing about cryptocurrency, which I mentioned in my presentation, a lot of times you don't even know who the company is. And there's no 1-800 number that you can call and find out. But my best advice is to use Google search, and if there's a particular, if there's a particular cryptocurrency, go out there and try to research. But that's the hardest thing about cryptocurrency, and the nature of it. It's hard to find out who the companies are behind those actual cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, Bob, you also can contact the Securities and Exchange Commission to identify those that are registered. Yeah, right. Because as Bob said, you have a lot of them out there not registered. Nobody knows where they are, but there is a listing at the SEC of those who actually approach the SEC to get some to get on the list as a possible source of investing in Bitcoin.
And that's the site that Professor McNeil had put in there, investor.gov. That is to the SEC.
Right. Yeah, you can go there, and we have contacts over there too. If you can't, if you have some difficulty reaching someone, just contact us, and we'll tell you the office to reach out to. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but we will get it for you.
And I've put some more in the chat for you, ladies, so feel free to click on those links as well. Okay, so any other questions? It's running about 11:48, so we'll continue with a couple more questions if we have time. Any other questions you have for Mr. Kins or Ms. Murphy?
So I wanted to ask a question about outside of crypto, but just investments in general. So how would students begin investments, or what would be the beginner step for students to take within investments? If that's using Robinhood or using any type of app, what is the best solution for us to begin that investment journey?
Well, first, let me address the use Robinhood. The issue with investment apps are that they a lot of times do not provide financial education because it's a peer-to-peer type exchange. It cuts the middleman out, so you don't have that exchange of information and knowledge. So that's why you got to watch out with a lot of the investment apps like Cash App and things like that, which you can invest in Bitcoins and things. There's no financial education that they provide you. So first, understand that about these exchange and these investment apps, these exchanges and investment apps. One of the ways to learn about investing, there's so many different tools out there that people can use. The FDIC has a wonderful site on the FDIC.gov /MoneySmart. and it's free that you can go out there and learn. They have online tutorials that you can learn about. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has a site called consumerfinance.gov, and Know Your Money to Grow. And you can go and learn all about investing on these sites, and they're government sites, and they're free. So those just a few, but there's several. I mean, even SEC has actually under investor.gov, you can learn about how to invest, investing 101. You're on mute, Ted.
I see. You have some of the brokerage firms have education components like TD Ameritrade.
Right.
They'll let you invest in, say, virtual money just to test yourself so you can practice, TD Ameritrade. E-Trade has like a beginner's platform, intermediate platform, and an advanced platform. So you can learn that way, where you're actually dealing with a broker, where you actually can engage in buying stocks or mutual funds, and they have education components there. So you can do it. That's a good way to look at it as well.
And I just want to add to that, Zaria. A lot of people are putting out that they're teaching financial education and financial literacy, and I'm just say beware of certain companies because they're more sometimes interested in selling products than actually giving you an education. Not all of them are not like that, but I just want you to be aware if they pushing a product, then you need to leave that site and go somewhere where they actually provide you with in-depth knowledge and general knowledge, not trying to get you to buy a product or get a certain credit card. Beware.
Okay, so now we're going to be on our last question from Ms. Tanner. She said, what is the best way to save? Can you break it down in like a percentage, or what is the best way to save money?
that's yeah, that's so personal, right? That is so personal. But there's this book that was a great book called Richest Man in Babylon. And one of this basic theories was that you should save at least 10% of your money. Like I said, there's no real one set benchmark, but the name of the game is, like Dr. Murray said, that you should actually make sure you take care, like do a budget. The best way to actually learn how much you can save is by doing a budget, identifying how much you got coming in and how much you got going out as expenses. And then what you have left is usually discretionary income. And that's what you then look and decide how much that you can save. But it's definitely, you must start at least creating a budget. So you know how much money you actually have that you can save. Like I said, it's personal on how much that you actually do save. But once you determine your expenses and your income, you can then identify how much you can save and how much that you be able to invest. So at a minimum, you should at least put 10% in savings of your money, and say at a minimum. And as far as investing, for some people who don't understand it, investing and taking their savings and invest, there's an old saying. They said, the old guy asked him, man, what's the best way to double my money? And he said, fold it and put it in your pocket.
But it really can grow,
To add to that, Mr. Kinzer, Mr. Kinzer talked about financial goals, right? And so I'm not sure if everybody has heard about it, but SMART goals are very, very helpful. So when you think about the acronym SMART, you have specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or relevant, and timely. So you always want to think about, the question was, how do you go about saving, or what's a great percentage? Well, the first thing is what are you saving for? It's always helpful to kind of put an idea out there so that you know what exactly you're saving for, how long you need to, save that money for. So let's say it's a spring break trip, or, an overseas study abroad type of trip. Okay, well, maybe that happens next summer and you've got 6 months to plan for that. Okay, then how much do you need? So then you can start to save you just divide that amount, that the big amount that you need by the amount of months that you have up until that point, and you can start to make those monthly increments. So that's one way to go about doing it. There's so many other ways. Of course, there are different percentages, but again, the first way or the best way to go about doing that is to start with an actual goal, and that will always help you to kind of get in your mind, hey, I've got this goal, and this is why I want to save, not just I'm just saving.
Mm-hmm. Also, would like to add, once you decide how much you're going to save, choose an amount that you're going to be comfortable with. Not one that is going to be too tight where you got to skip 1 month, skip next month, now start back 6 months later. If it's $10, if it's $20 that you're really comfortable with, save, save. Now, we also have a newsletter. The Society has a newsletter called Financial Success. You go to our website, www.sfppd.org. The newsletter has a lot of information in there too, like the SMART goals that Dr. Murray talked about is in there. The newsletter covers that. It also covers a lot of investment subjects too. There's a learning process here that's available to you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And that
My
website
screen
is
went-
also in the chat as well, young ladies. That website is in the chat.
They as well, they have an app as well. If you want to check the App Store, SFE and PD, please check out that app as well and download it for any additional information you're looking for. And can everyone just please give a round of applause for our guests and thank them for doing this presentation and giving us this talk around investments and money, because money is very important. So I want to thank you all for coming today, giving us this presentation on this Friday. And I'm going to add some things in the chat. I just want everybody to know we are starting a real estate and investment program next semester. So if you're looking into participating in that program, please reach out to Professor McNeil and please let her know why you're interested in that as well, so she can get you added to that list. As well as we have 2 more programs, clubs. We have our financial literacy program that we started with our SFPD ambassadors at Bennett. So if you're looking for a little bit more information as well around all topics in financial literacy, please let me know and reach out to me and I can add you to that list. So when we have meetings or when we have different presentations, you can be added to that. And then we also have our business and entrepreneurship club, which is short for Bay Club. And so if you're looking to start a business or you're looking to just learn more information around business, please let me know. I will put all this information in the chat. You can reach out to me through the Bennett app as well as through social media, and you can reach out to me through my email as well.
So at this time, we would like to just thank you again for participating today, and thank you to all of our guests and sponsors at the Society for Financial Education and Professional Development. And we wish you a happy Friday. Hope you all are well and stay well. Take care.
You too. Have a great weekend.